Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is Gateway's got it. And just what does that mean? Well, it means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Well, guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home, and who doesn't want that? In fact, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a car dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome into episode 105 of The Mom Game. I am Emily Jones. She is Julie Dobbs, working on something.
This is going to be a fun show.
Okay, fun show. It's
We're
always
gonna have an activity.
a fun show when we have.
We're basically like kids.
We have Yo Quiero, our favorite, queso, guacamole, salsa, the new elote dip, which we couldn't even have because it's in such a high demand.
Flying off the shelves.
Yes, so we love Yo Quiero. We love everything about it.
They want to remind you to dip into spring.
Dip into spring. It's time. It's spring break.
Yes, it is. It's spring break. I know yours was kind of thrown a little bit of a curve, and
that's all right.
You don't have big plans. We are going to Austin. We're going to drive and meet my family there. It's my mom's birthday. We're going to do a couple days at the ranch, and then I'm going to head back, and I'm going to have like 3 nights in Dallas with no kids or husband.
Oh, wow.
What
should I
do? I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be working. I'm going to be filling in at the ticket till 7 on those 3 days. But after that, I got nothing.
Okay. So like 3
I feel like
to
I need
7?
to party hard.
Yeah. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, 3 to 7 on those days.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I know. It's just kind of the way it worked out.
You could organize in the morning and then party at night. Well, I just say that because I know you've got a little project going on. You've been organizing your home.
Yes. The family concierge has been helping me organize. They hit up Ryder's room. Because remember they came in like a year ago.
Yeah.
And they did like a pretty big, like little overhaul makeover to my house. They came back. So they touched up. Because, we kind of maintained it, but not like they did.
Right.
So they touched up Ryder's room. And now it's like so many projects. Like when you sit and think about all the shit that you can do in your house.
Yeah, but that's why you have to keep it simple. You have to go one room at a time.
One room at a time.
Yeah,
and they're going to help me next move Anna upstairs and like do her whole big girl room because my almost 4-year-old is still in a crib.
Oh, dear. I didn't know that. Well, I mean, if she's not asking to get out of it.
She's not asking to get out of it.
She's not asking to get out of it.
She loves it, like just how cozy and I think safe she feels in it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and speaking of, we're going to have a new father on the show later, Junior Miller, and I'm going from the ticket, and I'm going to tell him my parenting philosophy. I'm going to share it with him.
Yeah.
I can't imagine he'll want it or request it, but I'll give you a little sneak peek, Julie, and it's whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
I
love that parenting philosophy.
Whatever it takes. And so if Anna's not bitching about being in a crib, don't take her out. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
I mean, if she's 12 and still wants to hop in there, we might have a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, she's getting big, and I want her to be able to get out and potty in the night,
Yeah.
Like she can get out of her crib, but she doesn't.
Yeah.
I just always like having a little taste of this because it is so yummy.
Okay, which guacamole is that?
This is the original. The original guac, and then there's spicy, there's chunky.
Do you know what this is doing to my OCD right here?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to fight through it.
Look at our setup.
I know. I'm going to fight through it. If you're watching and not just listening to this podcast, you'll see that things are now not symmetrical on our display here of Yo Quiero, but it's okay.
I am going to put my foot down and say that
and I'm totally fine with it.
Quenching my taste.
There we go. Okay. Oh,
Craving.
there we go.
For some of this delicious yolk hero is worth it. And I'll put it back.
Oh, okay. That's smart.
I'll put it back.
That's a good compromise.
It's okay now.
I'm okay now.
We worked through it.
Yeah, but don't just eat one bite. Put it back when you're done.
Okay.
Okay, but let's start with today. What's on your feed? Brought to you by Baird.
Oh, wait.
What?
Yeah. Okay. What's on your feed?
Yeah, but now you have to read.
I know.
Can you? Are you capable of reading and eating?
I can read.
And
So
chewing at
what's
the same
on
time?
your feed? Brought to you by Baird. We just had International Women's Day, and I really loved what they were putting out there as far as like how much support they give women, how many women leaders they have in their company. And that's who we've been talking to when we kind of were working through this whole partnership. It was like all females that we were dealing with. So I love that. And they just want you to think a little bit more about your retirement as a female mom. I mean, obviously dads need to think about it too. So I don't know how many people worry about it or know how expensive it'll be or get prepared for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's 60% of women don't expect their money to last throughout their lifetime. That's a problem. 62% worried that they won't be able to maintain their current lifestyle in retirement.
Women usually live longer than men, which is awesome. We're going to have some like alone time later in life. Maybe.
Okay.
We're talking about alone time.
We'll workshop that later.
What are we going to do with ourselves when we're all alone? That's sad. Not to take a dark turn there about our husbands and when they're going to die, but women usually live longer than men, but we usually save less. We often have much greater expenses in retirement. So this is something that you really need to be thinking
So
about.
what can we as women do to get the retirement and be in the position that we want?
You can call Baird. Our friends at Baird, they can help with their new women's retirement guide available at womenatbaird.com. That's women at Baird, BAIRD.com. You can start planning for your retirement today.
Yeah, and they've been around for over 100 years, provide all kinds of financial services. And just my own personal PSA, ladies, even if your husband manages this aspect of it, it is absolutely imperative that you're in on the conversation so you know what's going on. I've seen too many times, people women thinking they're in a position financially, their family is, and then shit hits the fan and it's quite different than what they thought. So Baird is definitely here to help. I was going to give the website because I'm trying to be better about that. Baird, it's
womenatbaird.com. BAIRD.
That's the email.
Baird.com.
Yes. Perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
So if you want information about how they can help you, womenatbaird.com. Thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure. So, I have a thought, I have a spring break, and then I have a St. Patrick's Day activity.
Can't wait.
Spring break. Do you feel like does your school or like the moms at your school, like, does everyone like kind of get together and go on a big fancy trip together?
I think it's just like friend groups, but it's not like everyone in the school. Like it's a big school. So but there are definitely like friend groups that vacation together on spring break. I'm
learning, I think just because my son is in kinder and so it's our first year at the school, I'm just kind of sitting back and seeing how all this works. And the people that have older kids already have known each other and have these routines where it's just spring break, everybody goes to Florida and everyone does this and everyone does that. We never can because of the hockey season. Right. So unless I want to go somewhere with my kids by myself, which I don't, then we're not going to do that. So we just are going to go to Austin this time around. But I'm like, man, this is like a whole thing. Like everyone.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say one thing we have kind of fallen into is a lot of people in our friend group and kind of in our school, whatever, they go to Florida for the summer along 30A. And I remember thinking what is this place? What is happening?
Yeah,
well, then we started going when actually our first year we went, Hattie was turning 1 and we've been every year since then.
I've heard it's just amazing.
It is. It's great. And then you kind of get to the point where especially with kids, you just want what you know. You want what's comfortable. We know how to navigate. We know where we need to rent a house if it needs to be close to the beach, or we can get away now with further away from the beach because the kids can bike, and we don't have to carry all the shit, lug it all around. So there is some comfort in that, but yeah, it's a thing where there's I have certain friends that they they go skiing with these 5 families every spring break, or they
Right.
do this with, it's just kind of a
It's a
thing. And
deal.
I guess it's like, what, I mean, to each his own, like, but with my schedule, and it's not really like I can do that either. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're like me. It's kind of like we just do
Yeah.
our own thing.
Yeah.
But spring break is fun. And then I just feel like it's just a good vibe. After that, you're kind of in the clear. You're in the home stretch
Yep, it's
for the
close.
school year.
Yeah.
And summertime.
Yep.
So cheers to spring break.
Cheers. It's all over the feed.
Yes, it is all over the feed. And
What else is all over the feed?
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Pat. And you're going to give us a lesson on the
Yeah,
history?
I have a lesson.
Okay.
So first of all, I love St. Patrick's Day, but
Okay.
doesn't everyone? I feel like everyone loves St. Patrick's Day. There's no one that's like, I don't.
No,
hate
I
it.
mean, I don't know that I necessarily celebrate it anymore now that I do have kids, but I
Yeah.
mean, used to back in the day, St. Patrick's Day was a huge deal.
It's really fun.
Oh, just so much
Maybe I'll do that, 'cause
debauchery.
I'm gonna be alone.
You are?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything worse.
What if I just go blend in by myself on Greenville Avenue and just like float around and like go to bars?
Let me,
and,
as your friend, you need a buddy. Like, I don't know if gluten-free pizza Julie can handle Greenville Avenue
something about that sounds
in
wonderful
Dallas
to me.
by herself.
That's what I used to do, but I would have a group. But like sometimes we'd get separated. It's like you start
Right.
swimming upstream. It's like everyone's going this way and I go that way, and then no one's phones are working, and
I
everyone's
need
kind of
someone
drunk.
I need someone to be able to account for you, Julie.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
Either that, or you need to add me on your like find my phone,
follow me.
Life 360 or
Yeah.
whatever.
Something about just like getting lost, going off the grid in that party sounds really fun. And like no one will be able to contact me for 24 hours.
Oh,
No,
yeah, sure. Whatever you want to do, girl.
I'm
The
gonna
world
do
is your
that.
oyster.
I'm going to do that. Okay, so I have a question for you. Do you know what a leprechaun is?
a leprechaun or a leprechaun?
I'm laughing. A leprechaun.
I don't. It's
like what? How would you guess?
a tiny human. It's the guy on the. I mean, it's not real, is it? Leprechauns aren't real.
You're questioning that?
I mean, I can't say with confidence one way or the other. I'm
you
assuming
know, like
they're
what
not.
his whole like shtick is.
Yeah, Lucky Charms and wearing green and pinching people that don't have on green.
Yeah, they're like very mischievous.
Yeah.
And they're tricksters and
Okay.
they are miniature. You were right about that.
Okay, thank
and
you.
they're in the fairy family.
Okay.
Did you know that?
Yeah, so they're 100% real.
Yeah, 100%. I want you to draw a leprechaun, and
gonna
I'm going
draw
to draw
a
a
leprechaun?
leprechaun. We're having a contest, and I didn't warn you about this.
Okay, what are we going to talk about? Because this is not good podcasting. We're going to.
Yes, it is. We're going to talk about.
No, I'm saying no. This is good podcast. I'm saying we've got to talk while we draw.
we'll talk about- do you
I
wanna
don't
use
know that I
green?
can draw and talk at the same time.
So something I think is really fun is like no one draws anymore
Oh,
for fun, and I think it's funny like when you make someone draw just to see what it looks like.
This is going to be the worst
I'm
thing you've
closing
ever
my
seen.
computer because I don't want to cheat. So
So we're going to draw a leprechaun.
yeah,
I
because
mean, I don't even know. Like, is it a person?
Did you-
head on?
did you can you throw me that darker blue?
Oh, sorry.
You heard saw the leprechaun video, right? Like where the person did an amateur sketch of the leprechaun and claimed that they saw a leprechaun somewhere in Louisiana.
The one that I'm going to uproot this thing, or whatever I want to
Yes.
get the gold at. Yeah.
It's the best. So that's what I'm going to mimic.
Yeah.
Is the
well,
amateur sketch.
I will tell you, this is about as good as it's going to get for this girl.
I've never seen you draw,
It's not good.
so I'm excited. Mine's so bad. I'm really not good at this.
Why did you want to do this?
Because I love making people draw things
Okay.
and then seeing how it looks.
Okay.
It's like if you make your husband draw something, I guarantee you're going to laugh. If you guys just sit there
Right.
and you're like, okay, draw a shark.
I have to sneeze. That looks like an Amish man. Yours does.
I don't know how to do his body.
We're we might be the two worst artists or drawers. Drawers?
Yeah.
Oh, you could. Okay, I could draw a pot of gold.
Don't copy
Okay.
me.
Huh?
Copying me.
Oh, no, you're right. I am.
It's okay.
Okay, so there's a pot of gold.
And we're going to share these and we can post them even.
Oh,
and
please.
see who wins. I'm not going to win. I feel like you're going to be like secretly good at drawing.
Not. Okay, I'm ready.
She just wants to get this over.
It's kind
Okay.
Okay, let me see yours.
Let's switch.
Oh. Well, no,
Or
I
hold
think
them
we
up.
should hold them up. All
But I
right, you go
can't see it
first.
if you hold it up. Okay. I'm showing
Hold
you.
it to your camera. Okay.
I'm showing
Okay.
you. And I'm showing the camera. He's kind of cute, huh?
Beautiful.
Let's see
Okay,
yours.
here's mine. Oops, sorry. Oh, you can't see it because of the. Stop laughing. The camera can't pick it up.
Oh, that's good, Emily.
I think it's kind of good. I think it's kind of good.
Let me see it.
Do you want me to autograph it? And you can take it
autograph it. He kind of looks
Okay.
like a little marshmallow man.
home?
Is he fat?
He doesn't really have hands or anything. Leprechauns don't need hands.
You gave him ears. I hope
did.
everyone can see this.
Yeah.
Anna's been drawing my almost 4-year-old a lot. Every day she comes home or comes out of school with a picture. And yesterday she drew me. And it was
Oh.
like the first time she'd really drawn, like she worked so hard on it. And
Yeah.
it just makes me laugh so hard. It's like hands coming out of my head.
Uh-huh.
And then she was like, Mom, ears are very tricky. How do you draw ears? I was like, you're right. So I think it's funny that you didn't give him like hands or arms, but you gave him 2 little ears.
Yeah, it's the little things. It's the little things.
Okay, this made me happy.
This brings me
Thank
so
for
much
taking
joy.
part in my
Yes, it
activity.
makes me so happy just to know that you're happy
And I'm gonna
and you're
autograph,
gonna autograph it.
mine, and we will take a picture and
Yeah, and we'll auction
post
these
it.
off for charity. Opening bid is at $1.
our leprechaun. I feel like that could be our next TMG challenge: is everyone draw their leprechaun. So
Okay. All right.
we'll post about it this week.
Okay. I dig it.
To reopen
Okay.
my computer.
Yes, you do need to open your computer because we've got to talk. So we don't have TMG News Desk today. We do, but we're kind of taking a little turn. And we're going to go TMG Entertainment
That's right.
Desk.
Entertainment desk, because you've been watching some stuff.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to talk about it. Okay.
This entertainment desk is brought to you by MSU Flower Mound. They could probably teach you how to draw things better than us.
Oh my gosh, put those effing things away.
And they can teach you a lot more than that too. Midwestern State University in Flower Mound. It's also called MSU Texas Flower Mound, here to help you complete that bachelor's degree that you never finished. Maybe you're at a local community college and you're looking to transfer. They can help you out. The programs there at Midwestern State University are designed to help advance your career, which I feel like is huge. You might have hit a plateau type point with your career. Give them a call. They can help you figure out your next steps to get that education to move further in your career and your life. The degree programs are offered completely online. That's great for the working mom or the adult learner. They offer programs in nursing, respiratory care, radiologic sciences, teacher education, human resources, and much more. You can complete your degree, the whole thing, in as little as 3 semesters, up to 2 years. The courses are offered online, but they do have a dedicated team and campus located in Flower Mound for all of your in-person student services needs. So now is probably the time to start thinking about that next semester where you could get in after the summer and go sign up at MSU Flower Mound.
Yeah.
MSUflowermound.edu. Do you have it?
MSU, it is msutexas.edu/Flower Mound.
MSU Texas.
Yeah.
.edu/Flower Mound. Give them a call. And thank you for your continued support of the Mom Game
Yeah.
here on the show.
So, time to talk entertainment.
Yes.
I've been watching some things.
Yeah.
I watched first of all, I watched Inventing Anna.
Okay. I've heard about this. What is it?
It's like about a socialite, like Russian socialite, and she like duped everybody and almost swindled them out of like millions of dollars, but then got caught. And I don't
Okay,
know.
so
It's
you
kind of,
weren't
it's
really-
okay. I didn't love it. It was good, mindless TV. It's not like you have to pay really close attention. Started watching 1883. It's good, but it's a little slow for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the Pam and Tommy thing.
Uh-huh.
You know who I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee. And I heard how really, really great this was. And I'm like 3 episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. It's not fantastic, but you know, anything that's like based on pseudo reality, I'm kind of in because I'm
Yeah.
a reality TV kind of person. So it's definitely interesting to see how kind of their relationship started, which was extremely aggressive, and it's like they met and then started like basically got engaged within very short anyway, and the whole thing about the sex tape and anyway, so it's interesting. I mean, there's a talking penis in there. Yeah, Tommy Lee talks to his penis and it talks back. It's a little
is there
jarring.
like a little voice?
It is. It is. So
Why do they do they think that that's what really happened with them?
I mean,
I know, like, did he really talk to it? I know it didn't talk back.
I don't. Well,
I don't think.
I mean, I don't think that's possible yet, is it? Yeah,
I don't know.
Not yet. But
Are leprechauns real? I don't know.
It's all in play, all of it. So yeah, it's a little. There's a lot of boobs and talking penis and whatever. So it's entertaining. I guess it's fine.
Do you watch it with Mike?
I don't love it. No, he's not into it. There's a lot of do-its. There's a lot of doing it. Anyway, it's if you're looking for like a mindless watch, it's like 5 episodes and it's decent. It's fine.
I haven't watched it, but I was reading a little bit about it and Pamela Anderson and how she's like not. What's weird to me is that she's like not dead. She's alive and she's still here, and
What's
she did
doing?
not give them permission.
No.
They were able to like work around it because they bought the rights to an article that was written about all of this or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. So they didn't have to have her permission. So she's like not happy about it all because she's like, okay, the whole sex tape thing, like that was one of the, worst times of her life or whatever. She lived through it all whenever the sex tape was released and they didn't want it to be. And now you're like reliving it again as like an older, person. She said she's living in Vancouver, I guess. I don't think
she's Canadian. She's a Canadian girl.
Yeah,
for sure.
So she's
they
living
talk about
living in Vancouver. It must be where she's from or somewhere up there.
Yeah.
And she was like, I will only do media if it is pertaining to like the philanthropy work that I'm doing right now.
How old is she now?
So I don't know. She's got to be.
I wonder what this sounds so terrible and trite, but I'm like, I wonder what she looks like.
She's 54.
Okay. She was stunningly beautiful.
Yes.
I mean, obviously I haven't seen her now. I'm not saying she can't still be, but man, she was really pretty. And obviously she had the figure. I mean, her boobs were.
Oh my gosh. She was it.
Like she was like tiny
was
little.
everyone obsessed with her? Like your friends? My brother was so obsessed with her.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think she appealed to the male demographic quite nicely.
Yeah, she did.
So anyway, Pam and Tommy is okay. It's good. I start giving my television recommendations. And then I also watched the Kanye West documentary.
Yeah.
It is so awesome.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal.
Tell me about it. Like,
well, okay. So basically when he was, I don't even know how old, like young and trying out of Chicago, make it as a rapper. This guy, Cootie, I think that was his name. Cootie started like
Kid Cootie.
No, I don't think so. I think that's his name. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe it was. I don't know. They just call him Cootie. Mm-hmm. So maybe it was Kid Cootie. I don't know. Anyway, basically he starts getting followed around with a camera very early on in him trying to make it as a rapper in Chicago because Chicago wasn't a big scene for that at that time, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, they started documenting this, not knowing that, 20 years later, they would turn it into this.
Those are the best documentaries.
Oh
right?
my gosh. It's so, and if you love that music, like if you love that hip hop rap scene, which I totally dig and definitely dug when I was, in my most impressionable years. So to see those, the Jay-Z's and those guys so early in their careers, and then to see how Kanye worked his way up through it, to see his relationship with his mom. I mean, that it was so cool to see that relationship with his mom. It makes him, because I think sometimes we look at Kanye West and I think he's brilliant at what he does. I think he's a brilliant musician. I think, a lot of people question his, I may call it sanity. I don't know what you would call it, but there was a time, I mean, you can see how driven he was. You could see that relationship with his mom. And then when his mom died, it seemed like, things kind of, I don't know, it took a different tone with him, right? Like it just became, it was just, I think he's a very fascinating human being. I think his career has been phenomenal. I think he's extremely talented. And to see that whole evolution basically take place in
Like
front of a
actually
camera.
see it, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, this is based on this
not like
information.
Pam and Tommy.
No, this is actual footage. And it
Wow.
was super cool to kind of follow that journey. And like I said, like, being growing up with that whole, genre and that being such a big part of my, childhood and, high school and college and all that kind of stuff, to see that behind the scenes was really cool. So I would highly recommend, I think it's called Genius, not spelled Genius. It's like the phonetical. Yes, like
JENYUHS.
so basically like the phonetical genius, like the phonetical, like the pronunciation of it.
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Phonetical. Yes.
highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Does it make you sad that
It makes
now
you
he's
sad
like-
that, yeah,
he's
it
not
does.
doing well?
He doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, like with the whole Taylor Swift and telling her off the stage and saying Beyonce should be the whatever.
Oh yeah. So he was
And
kind
then
of
the Trump stuff. And then
Yeah, you forget about all of it. But now it's like the latest thing he's in the news for was I can't believe Kim Kardashian his ex-wife is still dating Pete Davidson, by the way. Like that's still a thing.
Yeah.
And Kanye's really struggling with it. And
It's a shame that Kim had to wait so long to rebound from that marriage.
I
like,
think
how
they
many-
were
I know,
but I think they were like not really married for a while.
Right.
Like they seemed like they were
but I
never
just
together.
feel like people in Hollywood move so quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. But I mean,
Anyway,
she's
whatever.
hot.
Oh,
She's like, I gotta capitalize on.
Yeah,
all-
she's hot. I mean,
this
he must
prime
be
time.
really funny.
funny and
Does that really appeal to girls? They really worried? Unless it's really small, I don't think anybody cares. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I don't know.
people care.
Well,
I
they
mean,
care, but I'm just saying,
there
like,
must be some underground like because he's hooked up with a lot of really hot like older women,
Right.
So there must be some like underground conversation.
About
how good
his
it
duets
is.
are?
Yeah,
okay.
how his duets are, and funny is big,
Funny's
and just
huge.
sweet.
Yeah.
and he's like, I feel like he's the anti. He'll probably just dote on her and stuff.
Yeah.
The anti.
Yeah, definitely appearance is not everything, but also too, neither is wiener
No,
size.
it's not everything. But if
No.
you can, I guess, combine all that, maybe it makes,
Right.
because he's not like what you would call
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
well, that's true. But
Right.
he's not like
Traditional
Matthew
Hollywood.
McConaughey
Right.
or whatever. Yeah.
But who are we to judge?
Who are we to judge?
Who are we
I
to
can
judge?
see where like his funny personality would grow on you.
Yeah.
So anyway, best wishes to Kanye. I hope that
All right. Shout out Kanye.
he's okay.
Yeah.
And I do want to watch both of those shows.
Yeah. Okay. So consider it my recommendation. All right. Are we ready for our
Yeah.
special guest? Okay.
Yeah.
Special guest brought to you by Early Bird CBD. Early Bird gummies are a recreational hemp product and contain roughly 2.5 milligrams of natural THC and roughly 12.5 milligrams of CBD in each gummy. They are formulated with a microdose of THC and are designed to make you feel good. And I can attest that is exactly what they do, becoming a big part of my nighttime routine. And I am sleeping like
love
a
you
baby.
some
I
Early
do.
Bird.
I definitely do. Ton of different use cases, some to relax, some use them to pregame. Some folks like to get a little buzz before they hit the lake or the pool.
That sounds fun.
Want to keep in mind, like it's kind of like with drinking, you don't want to operate any heavy machinery, you don't want to drive a car, but this is when you're ready to relax and chill. So they often say at Early Bird that put a smile on your face is what these gummies do, and they are great for taking the edge off. And like I said, from personal experience, I can definitely attest.
Maybe I'll do that when I'm all alone.
There you go. There you go. Just pace yourself. Pace yourself. The Mom Game discount code is TMG. It's good for 20% off of new customers, I should say. First purchase, the URL is earlybirdcbd.com/TMG, and that discount will automatically be applied. I cannot recommend them enough. I actually gave some to my mother to give it a try. She has trouble falling asleep at night. And so I was like, you know what? Let's give some Early Bird a try.
Let us know how that goes.
I will report back with Nana's observation of the CBD.
Yeah,
gummies.
and if you do want to buy it, go to our link tree, and the link is in there.
Yes.
If you weren't writing that down or whatever, the link is there. It's easy to find if you go to our Instagram or our Twitter.
Yeah. So thanks, Early Bird. We love you.
Thanks so much to Early Bird for presenting our special guest of the day. And Emily, we have him here now. It is the one and only Craig Miller. You may know him as Junior. You may know him as a muser from 1310 The Ticket. Hi, Junior.
Also may know me as Oscar winner, Craig Miller, Emmy Award winner, Craig Miller. I'm done a lot of Hollywood stuff I don't want to get into right now, but thank you all for having me. Good to be with you.
Good to be with
for
you.
real though, Marconi winner.
That one's
you
for
guys
real.
slay it.
That one is for real.
That
yes.
one is for real. And I just want to say, I'm a diehard Musers listener. So I run every morning. And I just would like to personally thank you and Gordon and George for getting me through my run every single morning. And in fact, I won't start it until your guys' show starts so I can have something to get me through. So thanks for that.
You are welcome. That's great to know that you're with us every morning.
Yeah,
and we can keep you company.
Yeah, and you guys were there with me when I busted my ass this morning, like ate shit.
Was it something that Junior said?
It was. I can't remember exactly what the subject matter was, but I was running and just fell quite ungracefully, and I've got a giant gash on my knee, and so I was glad you guys could be there with me for that this morning for sure.
So Junior, I guess since we're talking ticket, we can start there, but you being on the mom game, one of the main things we want to talk about with you is your recently becoming a dad. So
Yes.
we're going to get to that. Don't you worry.
Okay.
But while we're on the topic of the ticket, how long have you been there now?
So it is 28 years and 6 weeks.
Wow.
Was there when the station signed on January 24th of 1994, and just can't believe it. Can't believe it's been 28 plus years. It's been a blast. It's gone really fast. But when those of us that were there on day one, none of us thought we'd be here 28 years later. We probably thought 2 years. That was my goal. Taking the job was if I could get 2 years on my resume of having done a talk show in a top 5 market, I'd be so happy with that. I never dreamed it would be a 28-year and counting thing.
Yeah. What was it that you wanted to do starting out in your career? If this wasn't what you envisioned as kind of being your dream, what was it? It was broadcasting of some sort, I'm guessing?
Yeah, initially I wanted to be a weatherman, a TV weatherman. I grew up in Oklahoma City, and that's, the epicenter of Tornado Alley and severe weather. And I just have always been attracted to the weather. And I always loved watching the TV weathermen. So I originally wanted to be a TV weatherman. And then around 8th grade, my dad took me to a minor league baseball game in Oklahoma City. And I was always a huge sports fan. And I remember we got there early and I was looking down on the field and I saw one of the local TV guys, Robbie Robertson, and he was just walking around in the dugout interviewing the players. And I thought, God, he gets paid for that. Mm-hmm. He gets to go down there and hang out with the players, and what a great job. So I knew I was such a passionate sports fan, and I thought, well, that would be a fun way to make a living. So I kind of shifted from weather broadcasting to sports broadcasting. And for, through college, I kind of wanted to do play-by-play, basketball in particular, since that's my favorite sport. And but then coming out, because back then there were very few talk show jobs in any market. There was no such thing as all sports radio in the 80s. Well, in the 90s, that changed. So when I'm out of school, I got a job at KRLD Radio back then in 1990, just doing sports updates and covering games. And then all sports radio started to really blossom at that time. And suddenly, instead of one talk show host job in every town, there were 10 or there were 15. And so that opened up a whole new avenue that I was also interested in, because I always listened to sports talk shows or general talk shows. Larry King was my idol growing up. I stayed up all night listening to his show every night, much to the demise of my grades. But it was a blast to listen to the way he conducted a show and told stories and dealt with callers. And I always thought that would be a blast, but I never thought it would be a possibility.
Yeah.
And then voila, we have all sports radio, and the ticket comes around and there's a job opening. And so I was more than happy to give it a try.
So forgive me for my lack of knowledge of my own position, but are you the original Emily Jones as far as the Rangers broadcasts are concerned?
No, I think the original was John Radigan.
Was it John first?
Yeah, I believe it was John first, and I only did your job filling in for John.
Okay.
So I did some Rangers TV stuff for 3 seasons, but my main job was hosting the pregame, postgame show on 33 and 27 back then. And they had half the games over the air, and then the other half were on Fox. And then, but John always did the in the stand stuff. So I only did, maybe 20 or 30 of those filling in for him. I just mainly did pregame and postgame stuff. That was back in the mid 90s.
Okay. So do you ever have a really harsh eye on me and I could totally do this way better than her. I've started this and
I created her.
In fact, it's the exact opposite because so maybe in one season, like I said, I might do 10 or 15 fill-ins for John. And each one of those was a struggle because they'd say, okay, we want to come to you 4 or 5 times a game. And I'm like, well, what am I going to talk about? And it was just, I was so stressed out between hits trying to come up with something else that I think everyone would find interesting that I can't imagine how good a reporter you have to be to dig up something good, find a good story, present it 5 times a game for an entire baseball season. So I don't critique you from the standpoint you think I critique you from. I come from the angle of that's unbelievable that she's able to do that night in and night out.
And now you're doing 4.5 hours of radio.
That's where I was going to go.
5 days a week. That sounds like a very daunting challenge. We're like an hour a week over here, Julie and I. So yeah, 4.5 hours a week is
a day.
4.5 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Dude, that's a lot.
It is, and I promise you, I think this every day at 10:01 when the show is over. I say to myself, I can't believe we did it again. I can't believe we filled 4.5 hours, and there are 3 of us. And it as it comes out at the end of each week, basically I've been responsible for a third of the show, George a third, Gordon a third, and so it helps. But that's still a lot of time that we have to kill every day. And you try to make it entertaining. You're not just killing it. You could go in there and read box scores, but you probably wouldn't get very good ratings. So
right.
I kind of agree. It's a miracle that we've been able to fill that much time in 28 years. But you know what? The world always gives you something to talk about. In the sports world in particular around here, there's always something to talk about.
Yeah. And working with you guys a few times and just seeing the way y'all operate at the station and listening a lot. I listen to, I don't really run very much in the mornings, but I listen as I'm just like farting around my house. I have to, not farting, but farting around my house.
Good.
I just have to clarify that. The way that you guys operate as a show, everyone says it's such a well-oiled machine. And I've seen it firsthand, but I'm wondering when we're talking about having to fill that 4.5 hours a day and coming in and saying, wow, I can't believe we did it again. Like, how well do you 3 work together, and have you figured out, I mean, I know you have, but just how seamless is it at this point? Because I feel like you could be talking all day long when you hear any story ever, like, hey, should we talk about this tomorrow? Should we talk about that tomorrow? Mm-hmm. It's almost overwhelming, probably, taking in information and filtering it through to figure out what you're going to put in your show. How do you 3 operate? And Fernando, of course, is the producer. This is probably where he comes in to play a lot. How do you guys all function together, and how have you got it figured out to where it is such a well-oiled machine?
Well, all 3 of us go about it differently. I'm the more type A, and before I go to bed the night before, I have to know how the show is going to be laid out. If it's my day to lead, George and I take turns leading all the sports segments. So Fernando helps a lot during the day before prep, with, hey, this would be a good idea for a segment here. And then I'll say, I got an idea for a segment there. And so when I go to bed, I kind of know what the show's going to look like. George is in between Gordon and I and how he prepares. He's a little bit type A, but he's also a little bit fly by the seat of his pants. And Gordon is more completely fly by the seat of his pants. But the way we all 3 do it is different, but the way we all arrive at the same place, and Gordon can fly by the seat of his pants and still produce really good segments and funny radio. And he needs that. He has to operate under a deadline. You know, like he just doesn't have the personality to do it all the night before, but it's my personality to get all done the night before. But no matter how we each prepare differently, once the light goes on and we start talking, the chemistry's great. And I think it's because the three of us genuinely love each other and we love hanging out and we make each other laugh. Even after almost 30 years, we're still cracking each other up, probably more during commercial breaks even than on the air sometimes. And that's just a chemistry that we're very, very lucky to have and that a lot of radio teams don't have. It's kind of a miracle that three guys have stayed together for this long in this business, because there are a lot of big egos and there's a lot of backstabbing, and it can be, like, I guess any business, it can be kind of ruthless, but I think we genuinely love each other, respect each other, and so it works.
So just as an outsider looking in, it appears that from a personal standpoint, Gordon is pretty private. And so I feel like you have been as well. I mean, which is kind of a miracle that you guys have been able to pull off that privacy that you have. I feel like George has been a little more open with his, family matters, all that kind of stuff, telling stories. But it seems like with this new development in your life, you've become a little less private. Was that a decision that you kind of, I don't know, battled with going into it?
Yeah, a lot of people make the decision to not bring everything in their personal life to the air because they want to protect the family, or, it's just a part of their life that they don't want made public, and that's completely understandable. For me, once, I knew when I got married that we were going to try to have a kid, and I'd gone all this time on the show as being the guy who didn't have kids and didn't understand that. And I wrestled a little bit with it. Well, should I talk about this on the air? But then I thought, how can I not? Because it's such a huge thing, and I think it's a different, interesting angle that I am able to provide to the listener, and being a later in life father. And so one main reason I wanted to bring it to the air was because I'm just desperate for content. I need content of any kind. And so I thought, wow, talking about having a new baby, that's tons of content right there. And,
Heck yeah.
And it's such an interesting journey. So I didn't really hesitate too much. And I probably also know that by the time she is in grade school or high school, when her classmates could be talking about what they heard on the show, I will probably be retired by then, so she won't really have to put up with that. She won't be the daughter of a radio host that is on the air every day. It'll be in my past. And so it felt a little safer, if that makes any sense, to kind of start talking about it now.
Yeah. I remember I was on one of my said runs when you made the announcement, and I said out loud, I'm by myself, I was like, holy shit. And I was trying to do the math and all this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe. And I guess just because you had been very private, it's not like you shared that this was something you and your wife were trying to, accomplish. And so it was kind of out of, left field for those of us who kind of feel like we're a part of this little, P1 gang or whatever. And I just remember being like, and I said it out loud, as I was running. And so it was quite shocking. But then I thought, how effing cool is this? It's going to be so fun to watch, because and people always say it when you become a parent, it changes you. It changes everything. It changes for the better. And I remember thinking to myself, I cannot wait to see this guy who probably never, but for a long time had kind of given up on the kid thing, to go through this. How fun is this going to be to see it through his eyes? And it has been so fun.
Oh, that's good to hear. Good to know. Yeah, I never had that desire to have kids. I was never really against it, but I was just very happy not having kids and loved my life. And I always thought it would be, a ton of work, and I wondered if I was cut out for it. And I'm sure I would have been fine if I had had a kid at 25 or 35, but I don't think I would have been as good a parent as I think I am, or I'm going to be now at 55. I just feel like I'm more patient. The bulk of my career is behind me. At 25, I would have been so stressed out about providing for a family, providing for a kid, and I would have been working a ton. And I don't know, it just felt like a much better place in my life for me to become a parent. And it's all the things that I was worried about. And now I laugh. Why was I worried about that? This is the greatest thing ever. I can't wait to get home and see her. And it's just fun every time I get to hang out with her, take care of her. So I had an idea of what the nuts and bolts of being a parent would be like, with the diapers and the feedings and sleepless nights. But the surprise is that all of that has been fun.
Yeah.
And I thought all of that would drive me crazy, but it's all been just a blast.
It's funny when you say all that, I'm over here thinking like, I think you figured this out. Why did we all do it when we did it? Like trying to raise kids and have a job and a career and provide for the kids and travel. It makes us all totally crazy, which is what we talk about here on the Mom Game a lot. It's like our place to vent about it all. But I feel like you've figured it out. Maybe you're going to start some sort of new trend.
Well, it's not for everybody. I like the way it played out in my life because when I was young and single and got to do all the stuff I like to do, and as you can tell behind me, my favorite sport is cycling and bike racing, and I got to do a bunch of great trips and races and stuff that I would not have been able to do if I had a family. I could have done some of it, but not as much as I did. So I feel like I spent my youth on that and trying to make a career of some sort. And now that I'm physically, I don't need that kind of go out for a 5-hour ride every day. It just feels like not only the perfect time from a career standpoint to have a kid, but physically, I'm happy putting that hobby on the back burner. I still get out and ride, and I still need that for my sanity. But it just, the way it played out for me, knock on wood, played out perfectly because I know how uptight I can get. And I think I would have been an uptight parent at 25.
It's pretty stressful. I have one more, going back to what Emily said when she heard the news and what she was doing. And I remember I was in my kitchen farting around and
lots of farting going on in Julie's house. Lots of farting.
That's my favorite way to say, I'm just piddling around. I need to change. I'll just say piddling. I was piddling around when I heard the news too. And it was I was just overwhelmed. I know you, but not super well, but I was just I got goosebumps and tears in my eyes. And I was just so excited, so happy for you. And hearing you say it and talk about it. And what I think is so cool, right, about the ticket, this is what we always go back to. So many people were feeling that way about your personal news of having a baby. And it's just awesome and magical. So I'm wondering how you felt with that outpouring of love from people that heard about it and wanted to talk to you about it, and just so many people that are behind you in this journey 100%.
Yeah, it's really opened a whole new chapter on the show and in our relationship as the hosts, or mine in particular, with the listeners. And we have one big family at the ticket. The listeners are unlike any group of listeners in America to any radio station. They're just so passionate about everything on the station, and it is one family, and it's definitely a two-way street. So yes, just the fact that I've brought this to the air and I'm talking about it, the feedback I get from dads my age or dads in their 20s or, the spectrum, everybody saying, hey, I went through the same thing, or it's great that you're going through this, or here's a tip, here's a book, here's a TV show, here's how you handle it. So many great stories, and it's just strengthened the bond with our listeners. I actually got an email a couple of weeks ago. So our daughter's now 7 months old. So this happened 7 months ago, from a guy who said, I've never brought this up before, but I was in the delivery room at Presby and I saw you racing through there. You looked like a man on a mission. My wife was in labor and we were having trouble filling out the paperwork. And he said, I wanted to turn to her and say, hey, I think that was Junior Miller. But she was in no condition to talk about who I saw or didn't saw. So he said, in my mind, I filed it away. And then I heard you talking a couple of weeks later that she had a kid. So there was actually a P1 there day in one room having a kid while we were in the other room having a kid. So just lots of little stories like that. have come out of this, and it's really been great. It's like I said, it's strengthened the bond.
Awesome.
As someone who's birthed two children, I'm just going to say that guy was smart to not tell his wife at that point in time, like point out that you were running down the hall. Okay, Junior, we got to do a quick live spot. We're pretty fancy here on the Mom Game. I know you're familiar with this, but this is actually a sponsor and a service you might benefit from totally, because you are, you're at home maybe a lot more, and it's called Bottle Rover, and it's an alcohol delivery platform. Free delivery on any order over $50. You can shop nearby local liquor stores, so you can still support local while supporting Bottle Rover, which is also a locally based company. Just search and browse your favorite beer, wine, or spirits from any mobile device, anywhere. Schedule your orders for pickup or delivery. Like I said, a Dallas-based company, but has nationwide coverage, so find a store near you. Go download the BottleRover.com or the Bottle Rover app, rather, or visit BottleRover.com to learn more. And we have utilized Bottle Rover services. I would highly recommend them when you're, in a pinch, maybe mom's away out on a girls' night out or something, and you're craving a beverage or two, and you're at home with the babe. There's a solution for you.
There's a solution.
Okay, I wanted to ask you, and I'm just so, and when I was pregnant, a lot of people would just, and I don't know if this is just women or what, because you're walking around with a human being growing inside your stomach, but people would automatically offer up suggestions, judgments, tips, parent, whatever. And at first they think it's all sweet and cute. And then sometimes you get super annoyed. You're like, I didn't fucking ask you what you thought I should do with screen time, or anyway, like there's just a lot of, people feel the need to share things. And so I'm wondering if when you're a later in life parent for the first time, are you more receptive to those, or are you bitter and pissed like I was?
I think more receptive,
Okay.
if I just recall the last year and all the tips we've got, because we have no idea what we're doing. And I remember the most daunting feeling of this whole process was after 2 days at the hospital, after the delivery, when they said, okay, you guys have to go home now. And my wife and I looked at each other like, I don't think we're capable of taking care of this human being at home. We've never done this. We don't know what we're doing. So we welcomed any bit of advice on how to sleep, feed, whatever it was. So I've tried to be a sponge, and especially back in the 3 or 4 months leading up to the birth, we were reading as much as we could and talking to as many parents as we could, just trying to get ourselves mentally and physically prepared for the whole thing. So I didn't mind getting any advice. As it turns out, the best advice I think we've gotten from a couple of different friends and our pediatrician, and they kind of said, and I know this is a generalization, but they said the baby will tell you what she needs. Mm-hmm. Forget about the books, forget about the videos, the baby will let you know when she's hungry and when she's full and when she's tired and when she's ready to wake up. And my wife's been great about keeping the baby on a certain schedule, which I also think is important, the routine to, let them feel secure. But also, I think that's right, that you just kind of figure it out as parents. Like, this is what we've done as humanity forever. And it's in us all somewhere how to do this.
So we haven't even talked much about how it's going. Like, how is it going with you guys, and how much are you loving being a dad, and any big challenges that maybe you're facing too?
So, and I haven't mentioned this on the show, but we put her up for adoption yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we just, we got really tired of it. No,
7 months was enough.
It is so much better than I ever thought. We are both absolutely loving it. And it was a real challenge those first 3 months, as you both know, because you have to feed every 90 minutes or 2 hours. So neither of us got any sleep, and we were still trying to figure it out. And the thing I was most paranoid about for those first few months was dropping her. Like, I was so nervous about carrying her and watching every single step and going up and down the stairs. And, when you kind of get past all that in the first 3 month freak out, the last 4 months has been great. She's a great sleeper,
Nice.
which is fantastic. At about the 3 month mark, she started sleeping 11 hours every night, and she's kept that up since. Again, knock on wood.
Oh, knock on it hard. That's
So
amazing.
that's been great because our nights are more normal now. She's just turned 7 months. She's a really fun baby. She's always happy and playful and giggling, and I know that can change too. A couple teeth are starting to come in, so she's teething a little bit, but she still is in a really good mood all the time. And yeah, we're both loving it. This was my wife's all-time dream, was to have a child. And like I said earlier, for me, it was, okay, that's fine if we have one. I eventually came around to the idea, but now that we're in it, I can't believe I waited this long, and I can't believe how much fun it is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been, the first 7 months have just been an absolute joy.
Isn't it funny? I keep interrupting you, but
okay.
just while we're on that, like, it's just funny after it happens and you have that baby, you're like, what was life before this?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yes.
what was I doing that whole time? And I haven't experienced these feelings, these emotions until now. It really, really does change everything.
Boy, it really does. And your life is, I heard this, I heard people say this, but I don't know if I bought into it, that your life is so much richer and it's more full, and it's just, you're experiencing a different kind of love. And it's just, everything about it enriches your life and broadens your life. And I thought, yeah, okay, you got to say that because it's your family and it's your kid. But now that I'm in it, I'm like, yeah, this is really unbelievable. I'm just so happy that I experienced this,
Yeah.
I think I would have been happy if I had gone my entire life without a child, but I'm way happier with one. And that's something I didn't realize until I had one.
Is there anything in particular that's just kind of caught you off guard that you're like, oh hell, no one told me about this. No one told me what to expect about, the mustard seed poop. No one told me about the blowouts that go up the back. No one told me about this. Is there anything that sticks out to you?
I think the only thing along those lines would be the unbelievable spit up, which is starting to subside finally. We've transitioned a little bit into solid foods now. But for those first, 4 months, 5 months before the spit up got under control, I couldn't believe the amount that she would, spit up, and it's all over your clothes and all over everything. And you learn to live with it. And I learned to not care about my shirts and things like that.
You just get
And
used
as
to it.
I think our pediatrician said, don't worry, spit up is not a baby problem or a health problem. It's a laundry problem. That's all it is.
So true.
But I was surprised at how much babies spit up. I knew they spit up a little bit, but we haven't had any. I keep waiting for I'm told when you're changing a diaper, you can have this massive blowout and it goes everywhere. We haven't had that yet. We've had some, she'll go tinkle, but even that hasn't gone crazy. And she's had a couple of really messy diapers, but nothing out of control. So I think I was expecting most of this.
Yeah, just wait for that first back poop. It's you're like, how is this even physically possible? It just defies the
Go up
laws
the
of physics
back.
that it can go up the back. It's like in between the shoulder blades. It's unbelievable.
So I understand that once, and now we're doing solid foods here, very slowly introducing it, but I understand that's when the poops get really bad.
Saddle up. Get ready. It's coming. It is
but
coming.
at least with a girl, you don't have to worry about the pee that flies right in your face when you're trying to change a diaper, because that was always a challenge.
You don't
for
have
me.
to have a PPTP.
PPTP. Yeah, she
things
doesn't
didn't
need
work
that
anyway, yeah.
And how's y'all's schedule? Like, how are y'all kind of figuring out? And I guess, what are Natalie's hours like, and how do y'all work through all of that with your early mornings too?
So it's been really easy because she made the decision last fall to leave her job at Fox 4. And we
See how
talked
close
about
I was paying
this.
attention. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
We don't watch the news.
She'd always wanted to be a parent, and she really wanted to do both. But then we kind of thought, well, if you go back to work, then we have to bring daycare in, and you're basically working to pay daycare. And why not just stay home, be a mom? It's what you always wanted. You had a great 25-year career in television. Now do this.
Awesome.
And I have no problem with that. I'm fine. And my hours are a little weird, but they're also great. I get up early, 4:30, But I'm home, 10:30 or 11. And so I've got all afternoon to kind of help a little bit with taking care of the baby, do whatever I have to do for work. And then she's handling, the bulk of the baby care. And it's really worked out well. I want to do at least one feeding and 2-hour window with the baby so that Natalie can go do whatever she needs to do, exercise, things like that. I really have a new appreciation for the work that a stay-at-home mom does, because that's a full-time job and then some. So I try to give her that, but she gives me my downtime to go do whatever I do. And again, we have a really easy child, knock on wood. We've been blessed with that because she's just rolls with the punches. She's just kind of happy with everything, and that's made it easy.
Well, one more thing from me before we let you go, and I'm sure Julie has something. Or
I'll probably interrupt you.
I'm sure she'll interrupt me or something. But since you're totally cool with this unsolicited parenting advice, I'm going to offer my 2 cents. My parenting philosophy is whatever it takes, meaning whatever it takes to get through this day, whatever it takes to get through this meal in a public place, just whatever it takes. And I remember being like, I'm going to limit the screen time, and there are not going to be any of this. And then we tried to go to a restaurant, and they're acting like banshees and throwing chips in the air. And then I was like, here, if I give you this iPad, you'll sit still and shut up, and at least we can make it through this dinner. And I remember people, judging me or, and saying things and making snide comments. I remember one time we went to the grocery store, and I've never cared what my kids wore. Like, I'm just like, I don't, as long as you're covered up, I don't care. And so I remember being in line at the grocery store, and this woman was like, how old are they? And I was like, 2 and 4. She was like, oh, that's awfully early to lose control.
Oh,
and
goodness.
I was like, I will fucking kill you with my bare hands. But I'm like, who cares what they're wearing to the grocery store?
That's
Like,
the prime zone to lose control.
Right,
that's when they're crazy.
Yes. But I'm like, whatever it takes to get their asses to the grocery store so we can get some groceries so we can come back home. Whatever it takes to get through that day. That's my advice to you, unsolicited, as a parent, is don't listen to everyone else. Everyone's children are different. Everyone's family dynamic is different. Do whatever it takes to get through the day.
I think that's great advice. And I'll definitely take that to heart. And I've found myself in a couple situations like that. The screen time thing is a big one that I wrestle with, because the screen is a great babysitter, and it got her to calm down during feedings. But I've also read that you don't want to do too much of that. But I think you're right. Whatever gets you through the day is and by the way, for those of you with multiple children, I don't know how you do it, because one is so much work. I just don't know how you all do it with more than one kid. That's amazing to me.
Yeah. And I don't know how people do it with more than 2.
That's
like
what I
2
was
is
gonna
hard.
say.
But then when people have like 5 kids, I'm like, how do you even function? Like, what do you even do with 5 kids? Like, I don't know. I physically can't. I can't comprehend it. I mean, and I'm always like, I'm not emotionally or mentally capable of having more than 2 children. I mean, I'm very well aware of this.
Same.
Yeah. So
I was thinking about that yesterday.
We feel the same way.
I haven't made many good decisions, but not having a third baby was one of my best decisions I've ever made. But no, I think this has been wonderful. We're so happy to have had you come on the show and to hear a little bit more about your life at home with the family. And we're just so happy for you, and keep on doing your thing with the Musers, because you're keeping us going in the mornings. And I know a whole lot of people across the country, not just here in DFW.
Yeah. Thanks so much for being with us, Junior. We so appreciate it. And we're so happy for you. Blessings to you and your sweet family of 3. But we have to end. I'm sure you're a frequent listener and viewer of the Mom Game. So the way we end every show is you point to you do the peace signs, throw them up, and then just say Mom Game out. Okay?
Okay, first, can you all see? I don't know if you can even see her. That's her.
I was hoping you were going to show a picture of her.
Oh, she's precious.
Oh my gosh, she's adorable.
Is she a doll?
She's perfect.
Oh my gosh.
If that's working.
Gorgeous.
A little glare there, but that's a little Sabrina.
Oh, and it's
so cute.
Just the older they get, it's just so fun when you really get to see what they're gonna look like, what their personality's like who she looks like more. Do y'all do that? Like, it like becomes a battle between mom and dad.
Just wait till she starts talking. I mean, the shit these kids say is off the charts amazing. It's so fun.
I can't wait for that.
It's so fun.
My daughter,
my 8-year-old daughter, who's not that into sports, got in the car yesterday and she goes, why did you not tell me the Mavericks traded Kristaps Porzingis? And I was like, how did you even know? And my son's like, who is totally into sports, she's like, how do you even know that name? So apparently there was a Kristaps Porzingis poster at the book fair, and like she was going to buy it maybe to be nice for her. I don't know, but somebody apparently told her at school that Kristaps Porzingis got traded, and she came into the car hot, wanting to know why I didn't tell her that Kristaps had gotten traded.
She makes a good case, Mom. You got to tell her these things.
Funny. Anyway, you're in for it, Junior. It's gonna be so fun, and I can't wait to listen in and follow along. You're about to have
thank you all so
a lot
much
of
for
fun.
all the nice words, and thanks for having me on. What else? I need to do what to close it out?
Throw up the peace signs and say "Mom game out." Ready? 1, 2, 3. Mom game.
Mom game out.
Mom game out.
Mom game out.